Canelo, a hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is.
So I mean, I can understand that. I wouldn't say they're scared of me, but I would say Canelo's scared of me 100%.
Floyd Mayweather has recently claimed that Canelo Alvarez is avoiding a possible fight with David Benavidez. At the same time, David Benavidez said that Canelo is the only boxer who seems afraid to face him, and he said this with full confidence. He also explained that fans were never demanding a Canelo fight against Terence Crawford because most people would rather see a rematch with Bivol or a fight against him. Benavidez added that if Canelo does not retire, his options at 168 are very limited because fighters like Munguia or Berlanga do not create the same level of excitement.
Scared of me is Canelo, and I can say that for a fact. To be honest with you, nobody wanted to see him fight Crawford. No disrespect to Crawford, but people wanted to see him fight Bivol again. People wanted to see him fight me. You know what I mean? So if he's not going to retire, then what fights is he going to get? You know what I mean? What fights are there left for him at 168? Munguia and Billy, Pacheco? You know what I mean? Like, there's no fights for him. You know what I mean? So if he comes back, he has to fight one of us. He has to fight either Bivol or me. You know what I mean? So, but that's how I feel about that situation.
In addition, Jose Benavidez Sr. said that Canelo avoided David for many years, almost 5 or 6, and he questioned why Canelo would want that fight now when David has grown stronger while Canelo has slowed down. He said that Canelo body and reflexes are no longer the same and suggested that retirement could be the best decision because Canelo has already given a lot to boxing and his physical abilities are starting to fade.
Canelo was avoiding David for a long, long time, 5-6 years. What makes you think that he wants to fight David now when he got stronger and better and Canelo's declining? You know, the body's not the same. The reflexes are not the same. I think my best advice to Canelo is, you know, retire, you know, because at the end of the day, he's done so much for boxing, you know, and the body doesn't want to go anymore. You know, I hear that they're going to have a second fight with Terence Crawford. I think it's going to be the same thing. Terence Crawford's going to beat him again, you know. Like I said, you know, Terence Crawford, I don't think he can hurt Canelo. He's a little guy, but I think the outcome is going to be the same. So if he faces David Benavidez, guarantee he's going to go to the hospital.
Further, Caleb Plant said that because he has been in the ring with both Canelo and David, people often ask him who he thinks would win, even though he does not believe the fight will happen anytime soon. He explained that each fighter has strengths the other does not, which makes the matchup hard to call. He compared it to the situation with Beterbiev BFF and Bivol, where either outcome would make sense because both fighters are elite. Plant said the final result would depend on small factors like preparation game plan and how each man feels on fight night.
Both guys, Canelo and Benavidez, if they fought, which I don't think they're going to fight no time soon, who do you think will win?
Man, that's hard to say. I think both have pros and cons. You know, I feel like the things that Canelo does better than David. There's things that David does better than Canelo. In a way, I'm not comparing it to this fight, but it's like the Beterbiev fight. You can say who you think is going to win. You can't say like, oh man, I'm surprised that Bivol won, or I'm surprised that Beterbiev won. You're like, man, that's a damn good fight. So-and-so won. So kind of how I feel about the David and Canelo fight, like who had the best camp, who has the best game plan, who slept the best the night before.
And it's not much that separates guys at that level.
If David can get on him with his combinations and not give him room to breathe, then, you know, that's probably a night that David gets his hand raised. You know, if Canelo is able to slow the pace down a little bit and catch him with a big shot, David's been dropped before from an off-balance shot. He wasn't really hurt, but, you know, would you be surprised if Canelo stopped him? You know, no. So it's hard to say, but I get asked that.
Meanwhile, Showbiz the Adult said that fans who believe David Benavidez would cause serious trouble for Canelo usually focus on a few main reasons. He explained that many people feel the style matchup favors David, which is the first argument they bring up. They also point out that David accepted a fight with Demetrius Andrade, while Canelo never went in that direction. Fans also mention David's victory over the young and dangerous David Morrell. Another reason is that Benavidez has already fought at light heavyweight, which shows he can deal with bigger and stronger opponents.
It's Benavidez' fault that makes Benavidez fans say, oh yeah, Canelo is cooked. One, you're saying stylistically David Benavidez, right? That's one. Number two, you're saying the fact he fought Bubu Andre and Canelo didn't. 3, you can say David Morrell, young lion. 4, he's fought at light heavyweight against Volsic. So he is a good fight for Canelo. But 5 is the most important thing. Canelo, instead of fighting Benavidez, he's fought everybody else. Ryder. What makes Ryder somebody that he should fight more than David Benavidez? Berlanga, Jaime Munguia. Why is it everybody but him? So that is raising your confidence in the fact that the Mexican monster will be a problem for Canelo. There's a lot of reasons why you would think that's a tough op for Canelo.
Oscar de la Hoya said the fight fans truly want is Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. He explained that Benavidez would stand his ground, apply nonstop pressure, and push the pace, giving fans the kind of action they expect from a Canelo fight. Oscar contrasted this with some of Canelo's recent opponents, who he feels haven't brought that same excitement.
I don't know who we want to see you win against. That's Benavidez. Go up against Benavidez. Fight Benavidez. He won't run. What's wrong with that? It's a good fight.
Jose Benavidez Sr. ini kaha ku ang Kyle, main Canelo of top level par nahi high. Kostor par is liya ku Terrence Crawford Nebraska use Asuni se outbox Kia. Unka Kana the ku Canelo ka jism of elite fights bardash nahi kar sakta, or agar wo David Benavidez se laid to Natija Bura ho sakta high. Hada ku hospital tak ja sakta high. Crawford rematch ku liebi wo Crawford KO favor Cardi Hain. Hyunku Canelo Dobara Bohat Punishment Liga.
Man, I don't know. Everybody knows Canelo's done. We've seen how Terrence Crawford beat him so easy. The guy has done so much with the sport of boxing, but the body doesn't want to go no more. So David would send him to the hospital, to be honest with you. He has to be careful who he fights in. I think they just did the rematch again with Terrence Crawford. I still like that fight. Terrence Crawford's a little guy, and I don't think Terrence Crawford can really hurt him, but he's going to get hit and he's going to get beat again, in my opinion.
Jose Benavidez Sr. said he doesn't believe Canelo will ever fight David Benavidez because the punishment would be too much for him at this stage. He explained that Canelo's body is no longer what it used to be, while David is young, powerful, and relentless. Although fans want the fight more than any other, Sr. doesn't see Canelo agreeing to it now or in the future. He added that it's unfortunate for Canelo because walking away without facing David will leave an unanswered challenge that always follows him.
Benavidez, to be honest, I would say that he would send him to a hospital. The body's not the same no more. David's super strong, young, and I believe that fight will never happen.
Fans prefer to see the fight against David, but could you possibly see maybe even before or after getting to that fight with Crawford?
No, I don't think, that's very sad for him to leave boxing that way. He did a lot for boxing, but he's not recognizable like a true champion because he did not face David, and that ghost is always going to be there. The shadow is always going to follow him around because he didn't fight David. But at the end of the day, I think Canelo, could make exhibition fights. He don't need the belts. He's already recognized. A lot of people would watch him fight and still make big fights. He could fight against the YouTuber, what's his name? Jake Paul. That could be another great fight. At the end of the day, it's entertainment. So he still, could make exhibition fights.
Paulie Malignaggi said he doesn't particularly care who Canelo faces if the belts aren't at stake, noting that Canelo could still make big fights, including exhibition bouts like against Jake Paul, for entertainment. He explained that he has believed for 2 years that David Benavidez would dominate Canelo, comparing it to a train running over a car stuck on the tracks. Canelo's repeated avoidance of mandatory challengers only strengthens that view. Malignaggi added that he doesn't expect the fight to happen and would only want to see it if the championship belts were on the line.
Who do you want to see Canelo with him? Benavidez?
I want to see. I don't care who Canelo fights if he will vacate the titles. Personally, I've been saying this for 2 years. I think Benavidez runs him over like a train running over a car that's stuck in the train tracks. That's what I think, and I stick with that. And his apprehension to fight the mandatory continuously only further cements my opinion of that. So I don't think he's gonna fight Benavidez. The only reason I want to see him fight Benavidez is for the belts, because I don't even think it would be a good fight. If he would vacate the titles, he could go on his retirement tour like Chavez Sr. did at the end of his career. Remember, if you guys remember that far back.